And we're back with our special on the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. The VOA documentary, The King Legacy Marching Forward, tells the story of the civil rights movement through the voices of the people who lived it. Now, the job of weaving the interviews and historical footage together fell to On Assignment editor and producer Lisa Vora. On Assignment's Philip Alexiou sat down with Lisa to get her insights on the project.
This was such a huge project for the Voice of America, and if I'm not mistaken, it's your first 30-minute documentary. So how do you come up with a vision to put something like this together?
All right, well, when they first came to me, my first thought was, I want to make this personal.
I can remember when my father went and attempted to buy sugar. There was a shortage of sugar that year, and they had decided that they would not sell sugar to black people, only to white people.
We transcribe every single interview, and I looked through everything, highlighted everything. I'm on the Metro. It is. This has been a lot of, I was on the Metro, I'm highlighting stuff, what would go well. Because it's really hard to piece together so many different sound bites and make it a story that people understand.
Well, is that something you came up with right away, or was it that you're bantering around and then eventually it just hits you?
It is a process.
Okay.
As time goes on and as I get deeper and deeper into the project, things just kind of come to me and come together.
To stand up for freedom together. We have come to register to vote.
I didn't know that much. I knew as much as the next person about, Martin Luther King, civil rights movement, but what is it? I had to research. I had to look through what happened, Selma, Voter Rights Act, how it all kind of happened. And as I'm studying, I'm like, I want my audience to go through the same process that I went through in learning all this.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
At 7:10 this evening, Martin Luther King was shot in Tennessee. This was to be a gala occasion for a little Negro college from Mississippi appearing in Carnegie Hall with the great Duke Ellington. Martin Luther King, 20 minutes ago, died.
Let's talk about some of the people. The two in particular that might stand out for some, at least for me, are the two women, the two old ladies, if you will. But they're in their 90s, which is phenomenal. Tell me about them.
They are two of the most charming women I've ever met. Just as soon as we went to their house, we just knew that this would be the heart and soul of the story. What actually happened is we were going to only interview one of the sisters, Korea. Her sister happened to be visiting from out of town, and Jerry and I actually came up with it at the same time. They were just kind of telling us the story. We were getting ready to only interview Korea, and then as they're telling the story, it came to me. You were asking about how the creative process. I'm like, it would be really cool to have these two sisters talking to each other, because it's going to break up interview, interview, interview. Sisters talking to each other as a conversation will add so much value to this documentary. And as I thought that, not even a second later, Jerry's like, it would be so cool to interview the two ladies. And we've been eye to eye with this whole thing. It's truly both of our visions.
I could see the masses of people who had gathered from all over. All the white people had gathered and brought their children. And they actually held their children up to see him being hanged to the tree.
On the courthouse lawn, that is. They set fire under his body and burned him alive.
When they started talking about witnessing lynching. I mean, you have these two women who have seen it all, and they still carry this great positive attitude. They're still happy. They don't hold any grudges. Amazing. They're just happy-go-lucky, and they're telling this woman walked and she saw somebody get lynched. That's traumatic. And during the interview, she was shaking. And at the end, she said, I can't talk about this anymore.
Because it bothers me to this day.
Being in that room at that time, you actually could feel, you could see in her eyes, her memories, you could see.
We cannot wait, we cannot be patient. We want our freedom, and we want it now.
In the end, what really struck you the most?
Well, I mean, the two ladies, but also I will say, while I was editing, because I really handpick each bite, I looked through everything Martin Luther King said to put it exactly where would be appropriate with all the sound bites. And while I was looking through video, the part where the one guy is fighting with the sheriff and saying, why can't we vote? I have all these people lined up over here. You will not allow us to vote.
We have come to register to vote. You are the sheriff of this county because they're not registered. And that's one reason you don't want them to register.
And the sheriff's fighting with him, and he was like, that's it, you cannot do this to us. This just brought it right back to, this happened, this is real, this is what people went through less than 50 years ago.
These are the people of Dallas County, and they have come to register. And you know this within your own heart, Sheriff Clark.
Wow, and that, of course, is one of many powerful moments in U.S. history featured in this documentary. A reminder now that if you want to see the full film, you can find it on the voanews.com homepage.